Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we are going to be looking at Hina, who is a new character that's popped up in the game. It's unclear how accessible this character is going to be. She is not a premier character, but she is part of an event, but the event itself could be a premier event where you can only really complete it if you were willing to drop money. Now we'll go over the character herself. As a 5-star, she looks like this. And as a 6-star, she looks like this. She gets a massively changed hairstyle. That's pretty interesting. And in terms of her apparel, she gets a nice green shirt. Is that green? I think that's green. She looks kind of cool, I guess. I've not heard of Hina before. I think it's the very first character that's come into the game with that name. Her stats are 1,771 attack, 1,771 defense, and 1,824 HP. She is a strong character and she is classified as support, so generally speaking this is kind of what we get from support characters, very just sort of balanced stats across the board. Now with her rush, however, those stats don't really reflect very nicely based on the fact that she does not do any damage with her rush. As you can see, it's called Disabling Strikes. It is 66 AP, so it is pretty fast. Stun up to 2 enemies for 2 turns. Those enemies get 300 bleed damage and minus 35% attack for 2 turns. So obviously no percentage attack. That 1,771 base attack is not going anywhere except with basic attacks, which, I mean, you don't really need that much attack on your basic attacks. You're probably going to gear this character defensively, so there's probably a wasted maybe 250 to 350 stat here where you prefer it to have been spread across HP and defense, if I'm honest. Based on the rush, it does maybe look like this character is going to be a bit more accessible just based on the fact that it's stunned 2 enemies for 2 turns, which seems to be in so many free-to-play characters recently. It's unreal. Those enemies get 300 bleed damage and minus 35% attack for 2 turns. I guess it's a nice little bonus. If you did get Shiva from the store this season, you would potentially be able to use that as like a combo, which would be pretty nice. It isn't a long-lasting bleed. The sort of reduced attack is quite nice, but this rush has not got enough going on to really be like super powerful, so that's why maybe it potentially could be a bit more accessible, because generally speaking premier characters are going to be very strong on the rushes. Looking across to her active skill, it is bleed and AP gain. It has an initial cooldown of 2 and deal 300 bleed damage for 2 turns to up to 2 enemies. This character gains 35% AP, so not really enough in terms of a turn. Basically she's going to lose a turn on her rushes, so I'm not really a big fan of that. She can get the bleed off quite early though. You can get a turn 2 bleed rather than the turn 3 on her rush, so if you did have lacerators you could potentially do it that way. If she did take some damage early on, you could get her rush regardless based on that 35%, but if she didn't, you'd still have to attack again and you're going to be losing an extra turn, unfortunately. I guess the most special thing about this character is the specialist skill, and it is Hemorrhage. Only the 2nd character in the game to get Hemorrhage. I think the only other character within 6 stars is Zachary. I don't know why Zachary's got it really, but he has got Hemorrhage. This character would be a nice combo because Hemorrhage obviously can get doubled every turn by lacerators. It does just go up by 150 every turn. Unless it's cleansed, eventually it will kill somebody, and that you can out heal it, but eventually you'll get into the thousands, especially if you've got lacerator. It'll just double really quickly, and it escalates to so much damage it can be unreal. So pretty much the highlight of this character is that specialist skill. Not much else to speak of in terms of the rush, not really much to speak of in terms of the active skill. She doesn't have an attached weapon, so you could potentially just build one for her or have one ready. Obviously a lot of people have got those stun katanas. I wouldn't say that's actually a good way to go. You probably want to make her a little bit more defensive. Stun katana with maybe some HP on it, AP on attack, that sort of thing. She doesn't really need a huge bonus because she's only got 66 AP. All round, I'd say this character isn't that spectacular, but she could be fun with that specialist skill in combination with the fast Shiva. She is part of an event. There are roadmaps up about her. We'll see if she's going to be a bit more accessible based on those roadmaps and having to calculate some stuff and see what else gets released in the next 12 hours or so. As I can see so far, I don't think she's that amazing, but she could, like I say, be a little bit of fun. Do tell me what you think about this character though. Would you like to get your hands on her and use her in combination with a lacerator? I think that's pretty much what you'd have to do to get the best out of her. She doesn't do any damage at all on her adrenaline rush except for bleed, and you'd obviously want to get that bleed damage doubled as quickly as possible. That's the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.